Howdy. It's the start of a new reading vlog. She always starts barking. Anyway, it's pretty early in the morning. I think it's like 8:30 on a Saturday. I just got back from walking my dog. I miraculously threw on some mascara and did my eyebrows. But yeah, I still look stinky. Yeah. So in my last vlog, I started reading the Ashes and Embers series by Carrie and Cole because I bought the first 3 books in the series. And yeah, I wanted to continue with it. So the first book that I'm going to read for this reading vlog is Vandal by Carrie and Cole. I don't know about the, what am I trying to say? I don't know much about what this book is. Vandal is one of the band members of Ashes and Embers, which this whole series focuses on them. And so he's mentioned in the first book of this series. I can't remember if he's the bassist or something or drummer, but he is mentioned at the end of the first book, which is Storm. Ooh, I just hit myself in the face. Okay, yeah, but Vandal is mentioned at the end of Storm. And basically, he is involved in some sort of tragedy. I think they mentioned that he actually had a 5-year-old daughter, and he was in a car accident, and his daughter passed away, which is so terrible. So I think we're going to be reading about how Vandal is handling his grief, and then I guess his new love interest. The thing about these books is that they all have some sort of taboo element, but I have no idea what the taboo element will be in this one. I have no idea what this will be about, so I'm kind of excited to start it. I know it's probably going to be really high angst. The first book didn't really have a lot of angst or tragedy in it, but her other spin-off series, there's 2 books called Torn and Tied. Those have really heavy topics. So since this has to do with grief and loss, I bet it's going to be pretty heavy. But yeah, I'm going to start that today. I'm going to start this today. I'm going to listen to it on audio. I realize that I really much prefer listening to these books over reading them. But yeah, I got a clean house. You can tell by my appearance. Yeah, I got a lot of housework to do. Our house is filthy. And I'm going to listen to the audiobook while I clean. And I will check back. I don't know if I'm going to check back in with you guys today or once I finish the book, because my videos tend to be pretty long. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Guess what day it is? It's Wednesday. I don't know what happened. I don't even think I was that busy, but I just forgot to vlog, or I would think about vlogging and something would come up. I don't know. But yeah, it's Wednesday. I have quite a few updates. I've actually been getting a decent amount of reading done. So yeah, I'll do all the book update first. So I did end up finishing Vandal by Carrie and Cole. And I was so disappointed by this, honestly. I don't know if you guys just saw that. Tofu is attacking my chair in here. But yeah, I gave this a 2-star. So this book deals with a lot of heavy topics. There's quite a few trigger warnings for this book. There's substance abuse. There's suicidal ideation, self-harm, death of a child, tragic, violent death. Yeah, a lot of triggers going in here. But basically this follows Vandal. He is the bassist for the Ashes and Embers band. And this book starts with the unfortunate loss of his 5-year-old daughter. Basically, one night, Vandal gets a call from his baby mama, and she's like, you need to bring your daughter home. And he's frustrated because It's late at night and he's running on basically no sleep because he's been doing his band stuff, but since the baby mama was pressuring him and then this girl that he was casually seeing for, you know, funsies, and his daughter, they get in their car, and it's implied that since Vandal was so sleep deprived, he actually fell asleep at the wheel. So he hits another driver, and the driver loses his life, and then Vandal's daughter and his friend also pass away in the accident. It's very awful. It's really, really sad. So many months pass, and Vandal notices that there's a woman at the cemetery near his daughter's grave that is crying, and he, you know, connects all the dots, and he realizes that this woman is actually the wife of the driver in the other vehicle. Vandal becomes like super enamored by her, and he's really drawn to her. I guess he like knows the name of the man who passed away in the car, so he's able to look this girl up on social media. And yeah, one day he finally approaches her and he basically seduces her to get her to come home with him. And this is their romance. The girl's name is Tabitha. Yeah, so very sticky situation. Vandal brings Tabitha home. They have this crazy connection, and Vandal proposes to Tabitha like, hey, I'm into BDSM. Why don't I like be your dom for a month and we'll see how this goes? And Tabitha, who is, you know, still grieving and feels that she has nothing left to lose and is also drawn to Vandal, agrees to it. The taboo element of this book is that Vandal doesn't tell Tabitha that he was involved in the accident that killed Tabitha's husband. Okay, so yeah, really toxic. But I was kind of like into it. I'm normally not super into like I don't mind kink in like a bedroom setting, but I don't really care for like BDSM lifestyle type books. But I was really, really intrigued by this because I love the idea of like the concept of BDSM being used as a healing tool. So I was really looking forward to like Vandal and Tabitha forming this relationship where, you know, it's built completely on trust, because that's, you know, how healthy dom and sub relationships are supposed to work, is like building a lot of trust to, you know, do these things and that like lifestyle. And yeah, it was going okay, but I would just get really frustrated with Vandal's choices throughout this book. I guess this is a bit of a spoiler, but there was a point where, you know, their relationship escalates to the point that Vandal wants to actually collar Tabitha, and like collaring in those types of dynamics is like super meaningful. Like collaring, it would basically be the equivalent of like marrying somebody, right? Like that's like a huge commitment, and he still doesn't tell her that he was involved in her husband's accident. And Tabitha multiple times has like talked about how she has this like hate and anger towards the person that did this to her husband, and he never like tells her. It's not until like a third person, like an outside person, tells Tabitha that she like finds out about it. And yeah, and then I don't know, like Vandal would do like, I wouldn't call it controlling, but he would get mad at Tabitha for certain things like posting or talking to guys on social media, yet he wouldn't like tell her who he actually was. So that really upset me. But I was gonna give the book a 3-star because Vandal does a lot of groveling towards the end of the book, and I liked how things resolved in the end until the epilogue. The epilogue of this book is what kind of ruined it for me. It's told from Tabitha's perspective, because I forgot to say that these books are dual perspectives, so like one chapter would be Tabitha and then the next would be Vandal or whatever. The epilogue is so unbelievable. Like, it goes, in my opinion, it goes against everything that was Tabitha's character, because we're given her inner thoughts and feelings, and nothing about her alluded to what happened in the epilogue. And it was so unbelievable that it completely pulled me out of the story, and it actually kind of made me mad. Which is unfortunate, because like by the end of the book I was like, okay, this is a 3-star. Vandal annoyed me, but this is going good. And then the epilogue I was like, so yeah, I'm kind of sad, because it's like the first book, Storm, and then this book just aren't doing it for me, or they just didn't do it for me, which is sad, because I, liked a lot of the other books that I read by Carrie and Cole, and so I was getting kind of sad. But I wanted to keep reading the series, obviously, so I picked up Lukas by Carrie and Cole. This was a 5-star read. This is what I was waiting for. Yes, okay, so this is the 3rd book in the series. This is Lukas. Lukas is the younger brother of Vandal. So Vandal and Lukas are the cousins of Storm, Asher, Talon, and I think Micah, and those are all the like band members. And this book is about Lukas and his love interest Ivy. And I am so glad I gave this book 5 stars, because this is the book that I was looking forward to the most, because Lukas and Ivy were mentioned like a lot in the previous books, and they were also mentioned quite frequently in the spin-off series that I read, the Torn series. Yeah, so the taboo element of this book is age gap, and this is reverse age gap. So Lukas is 24 years old and Ivy is 36, which I guess that's kind of taboo. For some reason it doesn't feel that bad to me, maybe because they're both like adults, but yeah. I really, really enjoyed this. This mostly is, like, from the beginning of the book, this is mostly told from Ivy's perspective, and it starts off where Ivy's been married for, I think, like 18 years. She's been with her high school sweetheart. They've been married since she was 18 years old. They have 2 kids, a teenager that's 17, and then like a 7-year-old son. And she finds out that her husband has been having an affair for a year. So she's going through this really painful divorce. And her best friend is like, hey, why don't you go out and celebrate yourself? Your ex-husband always hated tattoos and wouldn't let you get one, but you always wanted one. I have this gift certificate. I'm going to give it to you and you can treat yourself. So Ivy decides that she's going to go to this tattoo studio and get a tattoo to, finally do the things that she's always been wanting to do but couldn't because she felt like her husband would hate it. And there is where she meets Lukas, because Lukas is a tattoo artist and he's also the owner of the studio. And y'all, I loved their first meeting. I love, like, in books wherever characters have basically like a soulmate connection is what I feel, because it's not insta-lust. What it is that right whenever they lock eyes on each other, they just feel this like chemistry and pull to one another. And whenever they're shaking hands for the first time, Lukas even asks her, like, have we met before? And it's so beautiful. It gives me chills thinking about it. I'm so glad I liked this book so much more than the first 2. But yeah, this book follows their romance and it was beautiful. Lukas, I've been really wanting to read about him because he's like the really sweet, like nice, easygoing guy that everybody gets along with. And he's like super respectful and like patient with Ivy and wants her to trust him because he's like, look, I know I'm so much younger than you, but I am so into you. I really, really want you to trust me and to give me a chance. And even though she's like super nervous, she like, finally gives in, and they just build this like really awesome relationship that I loved so much. And it's like, Lukas is one of those heroes that I love. I don't know if I would consider it like alpha cinnamon roll, but he's basically, like the nice guy, but then in the bedroom, he's like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. I just loved it. And And it was nice seeing like Ivy heal from her divorce. She starts off in the book being like extremely self-conscious because, you know, she's only been with one person, and she's thinking that like, oh, I'm too old for Lukas. I'm not as like pretty and young as like other girls around his age. I've had 2 kids, my body, blah blah blah. Even though she's like this beautiful, wonderful person that Lukas is like super, super attracted to, both physically and emotionally or whatever. And yeah, it was amazing. I almost gave this book 4 stars because of the third act conflict. Not because it was bad, but because it angered me so much. I was so shocked by what happened, and I wanted to like go through the book and like slap the people involved because I was so mad at them for trying to like ruin Lukas and Ivy's relationship. But it ended up you know, really good in the end. They have their happily ever after. There's some like crazy stuff that also happens at the end that relates to other characters in the book, and I wonder if Carian Cole is ever going to write about all of that stuff anytime soon. But yeah, really, really enjoyed this. I loved this and Torin, like, which is weird because they're both age gap romances. Maybe I'm into age gaps. Huh. Anyway, yeah. I ended up buying the next 3 books, and I started Talon, the 4th book. I forgot to mention, all of these, like the audio for these books are on AnyPlay, the AnyPlay app, so I've actually been listening to them, but I did buy the next 3 books in the series. Also, another book that I started reading, which is pretty surprising, is Hooked by Emily McIntire. McIntire. Yeah, this is a physical book that I'm reading. I have trouble reading physical books, but I've been reading this on my lunch breaks at work, and it's pretty intriguing. I've seen this book all over social media, and I've seen like mixed reviews of this. Like some people really love it, or some people just don't really care for it. This is dark romance, and it is a fairy tale retelling of Peter Pan, but it's told from the perspective of Captain Hook. So even though this is a fairy tale retelling, this isn't fantasy at all. There's no fantastical elements. This is dark contemporary romance. And it doesn't like outright say that it's mafia, but it's definitely like organized crime. And since this is dark romance and this is told from the perspective of a villain, this is a very dangerous character. I wouldn't even call him morally gray. Like he's basically like a psychopath. Yeah. I'm not very far along because again, I'm just reading this physically on my lunch breaks, but this follows this man named James, and yeah, he works for like, I guess what would be like an organized crime type mafia ring, and he does a lot of the dirty work, specifically, you know, people off, and this book is very violent. Like within the first page, he's talking about like slicing open someone's throat. So if you're not into gore, you might not like this book. But yeah, so he has a really tragic past. There's definitely trigger warnings for sexual assault and assault on minors. And yeah, so James has this like vendetta against, I can't remember his last name, but it's against a man named Peter, who's also like another like businessman who's like associated with organized crime as well. And James actually meets Peter's daughter named Wendy one night at his bar. Wendy is trying to sneak in with a couple of friends with a fake ID. She's basically like was pressured by these girls to like use a fake ID to get in because she's only 20 years old. And he recognizes her and is like, oh, this is my time to swoop in. I'm going to attach myself to this daughter, use her as a pawn to get my revenge against this Peter man so that I can like, you know, kill him later or whatever. And yeah, he's definitely a psychopath, just the way that his like inner thoughts and feelings work. However, towards Wendy, he's starting to have these like weird possessive feelings that I think even he himself doesn't really understand. And Wendy has no idea at all. She seems like pretty sheltered, and she's also kind of a bit estranged from her father because he doesn't really have any relationship with her or her little brother John. She basically has had to raise John by herself. She's 20 years old, and I think John is like 16. No, I think he's like 15 or 16 because he's still in like high school age. And yeah, she's just kind of drifting through life. She wants to stay with her brother to make sure that he's okay. And yeah, she goes to that bar and sees James and sparks fly, but she kind of feels something kind of off with him. And yeah, I'm not very far into this book at all, so I can't talk too much about it. What I can say is that, yes, very, very violent. Got to the first spicy scene. There's a bit of breath play in this, if anybody knows what that is. Breath play. It's intriguing. Hopefully I can finish it by the end of the week, because I normally have trouble reading physical books. But yeah, there's that. On Sunday, my partner and I also went thrifting, and I had no intentions of getting books. I really just needed to go to get sweatpants. But my partner went into the book section while I was looking around elsewhere, and he found something, and he was like, Zoe, this Goodwill has a shit ton of romance books, and I just found this for you. And yeah, all of the books were only $2. And I got quite a handful of things that I'm excited to share. I don't do haul books on this channel, mostly just because I really don't buy books that often. Like, I feel like I don't buy enough to be able to do haul videos. But I don't know, if anybody likes, like, they would prefer watching a haul video over like seeing it in a vlog, let me know, because then maybe I'll start doing haul videos. But yeah, here, I'm going to show you what I got. So, what my partner found was this. It's called Hottest Blood. It's a collection of horror erotica. Yeah, I don't know, this cover is so good. I love this font. And yeah, it's basically just like a collection of short stories that are all horror erotica. Love it. I loved that he found that for me and thought of me. And it's what triggered me to like get the rest of these books. I found quite a few Lindsay Sands books. These are all paranormal romance books. This is the, I think it's pronounced Argino books. This is A Quick Bite. This is the first book in the series. I don't know anything about these books. All I know is that Lindsay Sands is like really big in the paranormal romance genre. I really like paranormal romance, but I've never read anything by her. And since they had quite a few of these books in this series, I wanted to pick them up. So yeah, I don't know the order of these books at all. I might have to pick up more of them in the future, but here's the first book. Then we have Born to Bite. Meant to Be Immortal. Hungry for You. And The Accidental Vampire. I, of course, also picked up more historical romance. Historical romance is what got me back into reading. And I was really excited because two of these books have been on my TBR for a while, and I just never got around to buying them. But this one I picked up. This book wasn't actually $5.98. It was only $2. But this is the book by Ava Leigh, and it's Waiting for a Scot Like You. This has been on my TBR for a while. This is reverse age gap, older heroine. I think she's like, her husband just recently died, and so she's like free to do whatever she wants, and she wants to travel to this orgy. And this Scottish, like, what is he? he's like a major in the military. He basically is like coerced into traveling with her to make sure that she gets there safely, even though he's like frowning upon what she's doing. And it's their romance. Supposed to be super good. Grumpy Sunshine, reverse age gap. Can't wait to read it. Then I got When Beauty Tamed the Beast by Eloisa James. This has also been on my TBR for a while. I love like Beauty and the Beast retellings. This cover is beautiful. And look at that step back. I love like purple and pink colors. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I also picked up Daring the Duke by Sarah McLean. The cover's a little bit damaged, but I don't mind. I'm a sentient trash can, and most of my books are used anyway, so. And here is the step back for this. I love her yellow dress. The first ever historical romance book that I ever read was by Sarah McLean, and I'm super close to finishing her Lord of Scoundrels series. And so I wanted to pick this up because this is the next book series that I wanted to read by her. And I think this is like, yeah, it's the second book or something. And the last two historical romance books that I got are actually bodice rippers. And I am so excited because these are gorgeous. These are both Western historical romances. I picked up Lawless by Patricia Potter. Oh man, I really, really love the oil painting stepbacks. I wish they still did these. It's so, so good. This one sounds amazing. This is a romance between like a woman who owns this ranch and then this bounty hunter guy who's hired to basically like try to kick her off the ranch. But instead of doing that, he ends up falling in love with her. Yeah, totally into that. And then this one, y'all. This is Catalina's Caress. And this is a zebra romance book. I have another book that is by this publisher. I don't know if this exists anymore, but they have these holographic stickers. And the sticker on the other book that I have is ripped off, which is so sad. But this book is in really good condition, and look at those colors. They're absolutely gorgeous. There's also some stuff on the back. Oh my gosh. Yeah, really, really gorgeous. What year did this book come out? This came out in 1987. Oh my gosh. This is definitely a bodice ripper. Very problematic sounding on the back. I mean, look, here's the line right here. He'd ravish, then ruin the innocent miss. Yeah. It is probably going to be problematic, but like it's a bodice ripper, so whenever I read this, I'm going to go in knowing that it's going to be problematic. I would love to do a reading vlog where all I do is read bodice rippers. But yeah, this one is gorgeous. I can't wait to read it in the future. But yeah, that was my little book haul. But yeah, I would like to know if anybody would prefer watching book hauls. I would probably have to do them like probably not even once a month, probably every couple of months. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's my update, guys. This clip is going to be super long for me to edit. I need to get better at remembering to update the vlog. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll check back in with you guys once I finish reading my next book. Good morning. Can you tell that there's something different about me? Yeah, I got glasses. And I don't know how I feel about them, honestly. For one, I'm not used to having them, so I still have this like fish eye effect with my vision. And then it's so annoying trying to use a camera and they're like being reflection on the glasses and wearing a mask and like steam. Yeah, I didn't even address this in my other past couple vlogs, but a couple weeks ago, I finally went to the eye doctor, and I hadn't been to the eye doctor in somewhere between 8 to 10 years. I'm not even lying. Like, I've had vision insurance, and I just never went. Like, my eyesight just wasn't a priority health-wise. And yeah, I went, and they were like, you need glasses. And I was like, oh. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about them. I don't know if like it's the frames or something, because like I'm just not used to seeing something like that on my face. But yeah, I feel like my vision is worse with them, but they told me that since I went so long without wearing glasses, whenever like honestly, I think the last time that I went to the eye doctor 8 or 10 years ago, they told me that I was supposed to get glasses and I didn't. So the lady at the eye doctor was like, it might take you up to 2 weeks because you have a terrible astigmatism and it's gonna take a while for your eyes to adjust to, relaxing basically so that I can see better. But yeah, there's that. It's Saturday, so this is the end of the vlog, and I got a decent amount of reading done. I read 3 books this week, and then I'm almost done with Hook. I still have like a quarter of it left. I just haven't had the time in the evening to like sit down and read. But yeah, so I did read book number 4 in the Ashes and Embers series, and that is Talon. And y'all, this is my second 6-star read for the year. Not 5-star, 6-star read. I love this book so much. Oh my gosh. I didn't explain what this book was about, but basically this book follows our hero Talon. He is the other guitarist for the Ashes and Embers band. He's like, out of the brothers, there is Asher, Storm, Talon, and then Micah. So Talon is like the second to youngest of the brothers. And it also follows our heroine named Asia. And then I think it was in the previous book, they talk about how Talon had signed up for this experiment. It's like a social experiment where this team of like psychologists, sex therapists, and like a bunch of other professionals interview these people, like these potential couples, and then they marry them. Yeah, so that's the setup of this book. Basically, Talon and Asia, they decide to sign up for the social experiment, and how it goes is that for like 3 months they go through these like really intensive interviews and appointments with these like different psychologists and whatnot that they're assigned to, so that they can get like a frame of mind of like who they are and who they're searching for and like a potential partner. And then they're not allowed to meet each other until their wedding day. And then, so these couples who have never met each other, they get married. And then after 6 months, they're able to choose if they want to stay married or not, or they can like separate. And since the process can be kind of like stressful, obviously, because you're literally marrying a stranger, everybody gets $50,000, regardless if they stay married or not. Which is bonkers. It's so bonkers. But I was like really looking forward to this one because I thought that was such an intriguing premise. And I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. So Talon, he's like 26 years old. He's like I wouldn't say bad boy member of the band, but he's like always not wearing a shirt. He's known for having like a really large, if you know what I'm saying, he's kind of like a player. He has a ton of like, just like one night stands kind of person, but he actually doesn't want that. He's always wanted like to settle down with somebody, and he's always wanted to like get married and whatnot. He just has like a lot of trouble connecting with people, I guess, emotionally. He's very like emotionally distant. His personality, I think, it's just so funny. His personality, like I think I was talking about how Lukas is like the easygoing nice guy. He is like the goofy jokester, always cracking jokes. He's kind of like a smart ass. And yeah, so he signs up for this experiment, and Asia signs up for this experiment as well. The reason why I was laughing is because I think the reason why I gave this a 6-star is honestly because I'm a bit biased. I really, really related to Asia as a character. Asia's had kind of a rough life. She's very poor and she grew up in like poverty. And so whenever the story starts, she's had a ton of trouble dating because like she, does like the online dating, and every time she goes, nothing works out. She's struggling financially. She doesn't have a car. She lives, like, they refer to it as like the ghetto, but I don't really like using that term to describe neighborhoods. I think it's kind of like weird. I don't know. I have feelings about calling places ghetto. But yeah, she lives in like not so great part of town because she can't afford to live anywhere else. She's really, really creative, and she's good at designing clothes and like making soaps and lotions, and that's how she gets by, is by like selling her products. And her best friend actually works for one of the psychologists, and she's like, oh my god, Asia, you need to sign up for this. You're having so much trouble dating. You could, if this all works out, you can find somebody that will be like an amazing partner and husband for you. And also, regardless, you can get like a decent amount of money. I mean, $50,000 is like a huge amount of money. It could help her with like her poverty status. So yeah, they both sign up for it. And of course, they get paired with one another. And it's kind of sad because when their first meeting does not go well because they're not who they want in a partner. They're both really, really shocked. For one, Asia, whenever she sees Talon, she's like, because of, he's like this rocker man. He has like long hair and covered in tattoos. And she's like, well, it's kind of like her judge. Really, they're both in the wrong because they're judging by appearances. And she's like, oh my god, there's no way that this guy is like this stable, family-loving person that has like like a good job and stuff, because he just looks like a rocker. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for stability and somebody to like be a really good husband to me. And then Talon is like this little goody two-shoe. She doesn't even have big boobs, and she's not blonde. Like, she's not even my type, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, their first meeting goes so bad. But their first night together, they basically realize like, wow, we said a bunch of like really hateful things to each other, and that's not good. We both signed up for this because we want to find true love, and we need to make this work. And yeah, so they get off to a rocky start, but I don't know, this was just so beautiful. What if I told y'all that I just got back like 5 hours later from filming that last clip? I started filming, and then my friends came and picked me up to go to an oddities festival, and I didn't think it was going to take me that long to to film. Yeah, so I'm a little frazzled. But as I was saying about Talon, yeah, so that's basically how the book starts, is that they get married and then immediately move in and try to form a relationship for 6 months. And so much stuff happens between this couple. And I think part of the reason why I rated this as 6 stars is because I am a little bit biased because I relate to the character Asia a lot. And there's aspects of Talon that really remind me of my partner. Also, I don't think this is the author's intention, but Asia really comes off as a demisexual character, which I love because I identify as demisexual and being on the asexual spectrum. Asia's very, very apprehensive about sleeping with Talon, and Talon's like that's very much his love language, is like physical intimacy, specifically sex. And Asia's like, I can't just sleep with you even though we're married. Like, I really have to like get to know you. I need to like fill this bond with you, which very much reads like a demisexual character. So even though that might not be the author's intention, I really liked that aspect about Asia's character because I felt that it was really relatable. This book starts off pretty light too, because a lot of Carian Cole's books has some sort of like taboo element or dark aspect, and it's not until like later in the book that we're given more info about Asia's backstory that it starts to like feel really dark. There's triggers for like mental illness, so like depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. There's trigger warnings for I guess like assault, not really assault on minors, but something along the lines of that. There's also, I guess, maybe substance abuse would be another trigger for this book. Another thing is that the third act conflict of this book is normally something that would really, really piss me off. Like, I hate emotional white-fanging in books, which that happens in this, and that normally makes me so angry. And I realized, like, while reading it, where I was like, oh my god, this is making me angry, but it's making me angry because I'm having an emotional reaction to the idea of these characters breaking up. Like, I was just really, really rooting for them. I love that, like, even though it's a struggle for them to, like, marry each other, they're willing to make things work. And there's also, like, little things that it's almost like, it's kind of like how I was saying with Lukas, where these characters almost have a soulmate connection because there's little things that have happened in the past for them that kind of relate back to one another, where it's like, oh wow, it's like almost meant to be for them to get together. And yeah, I don't know, I guess I did kind of have a biased reaction to this book just because I related to them so much, and it was just so beautiful. It was also just so fun. Like, I've never read a romance book where, I mean, I've read like arranged marriages and like historical romance or marriage of convenience. So it's kind of like that trope, but set in a modern contemporary romance. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's really, really good. I love, you know, I said that there's a bit of emotional white-fanging towards the end of this book, but I love the way that Talon grovels. It's just, it like made me so swoony, because at first I thought I was going to rate this book like a 4.5 or 5 star because of what happens in the third act conflict, but the way that that grovel turned out at the end, I was like, that's so swoony. I love it so much. I'm giving this a 6 star. Yeah, I don't know, I just really, really loved this book a lot. But yeah, that's it. I just got back from an oddities expo because I collect taxidermy on top of like other things, so I don't want this vlog to be too long, so I think in the next vlog on this channel I'll go ahead and talk about that. But yeah, so I read 3 books this week. I read books 2, 3, and 4 in the Ashes and Embers series, and I'm getting pretty close to finishing Hooked. But yeah, I can't wait to finish the series. I think I'm going to finish the Hook book, and then in my next vlog I'll talk about it. But yeah, it was fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Tell me what you're reading right now. Do you guys like contemporary romance, or do you like Rockstar romance or Taboo romance? Let me know. I'm always down for book suggestions. But yeah, I'm going to go. I'm exhausted. Sorry there's no B-roll in this vlog, but it is what it is. But I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.